Hello everyone, are you in 10th ICSE and looking for civics important questions? You are at the right place. I am Professor Miithyl Dave and welcome to MD's World of Concepts.
Rancherforce.com.
10th ICSE Civics Important Questions. Chapter 1, the Union Parliament. These are the following short answer questions, out of which one of the most important are: what is the quorum to hold the meetings of the Lok Sabha? Mention any one matter where the Rajya Sabha enjoys equal powers with the Lok Sabha. What is the maximum gap allowed between the two parliamentary sessions? A very important question is, what is an adjournment motion? You can also have to say what is the difference between a money bill and a non-money bill. Also explain the terms quorum and 0 hours and who decides whether a bill is a money bill or not. When it comes to chapter 1 structured questions, these are the two important questions. Keeping in view the power of the parliament, state the following: 3 of its legislative powers, 3 of its financial powers, 4 of its administrative or executive powers. With reference to the powers of the Rajya Sabha, answer the following questions: what are its legislative and financial powers? What are its administrative powers? What are its exclusive or special powers? When it comes to chapter 2, the President and the Vice President, the short answer questions are: who administers oath of the office to the President? On what grounds can the President of India be removed from office? What is meant by the term ordinance? Why are the ordinance considered temporary measures? Mention 3 types of emergency which the Constitution makes provision for. It's a very important questions. When it comes to chapter 2 structured questions, according to Dr. Ambedkar, the President represents the nation but does not rule the nation. In this context, answer the following questions. The President of India, referred to as the nominal head of the state, state 2 examples of his legislative powers that suggest his nominal status. Mention the circumstances when the President can declare a national emergency. Explain 2 discretionary powers of the President. According to Article 63 of our Constitution, there shall be a Vice President of India. In this context, state the manner of its election, the qualification for election, and the 2 important powers. When it comes to chapter 3, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, the short answer questions are: state 1 point of difference between the Cabinet and the Council of Ministers with reference to their responsibility in the government. Mention the categories of ministers in the Council of Ministers. Explain the term collective responsibility. State the Cabinet's role in the formulation of policies of the government. Mention the qualification which a person should possess to be eligible for appointment as a minister. One of the most important question is, how is the Prime Minister a link between the Cabinet and the President? The structured questions of chapter 3 are: with reference to the power and the functions of the Cabinet, briefly state the following: 3 administrative functions, 3 legislative functions, 3 financial functions. The Constitution provides a Council of Ministers to aid and advise the President. In this context, answer the following questions: what are the various categories of ministers? Explain their individual and collective responsibility. Briefly mention their functions. When it comes to chapter 4, the Supreme Court, one of the important chapters, the short answers are as follows: by whom are the judges of the Supreme Court appointed and how? Mention 2 ways in which Constitution ensures the independence of the judges of the Supreme Court. Who is the protector and the final interpreter of the Constitution? In case of violation of the fundamental rights of individuals, which type of jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is applicable? A very important question is, what is meant by appellate jurisdiction? Meant 2 types of cases in which an appeal shall lie to the Supreme Court. Mention 2 circumstances under which an appeal in the criminal case lies to the Supreme Court. How is the Supreme Court a court of record? A very important question is, what is meant by the term writ? Name any 3 writ issued by the Supreme Court. The structured questions of chapter 4 are as follows: the Supreme Court is the apex court in the entire judicial setup in India. In this context, answer the following questions: what is meant by the single integrated judicial systems? Explain the impeachment procedure for the removal of judges. In the extensive jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, State the difference between the original jurisdiction and the appellate jurisdiction. Mention two functions that come under the original jurisdiction. A very important question is how the Constitution has ensured that the Supreme Court acts as a custodian of the Constitution and the guardian of the fundamental rights. A short question can be asked on this. Your friend from Australia have asked you to explain the following terms and there are implications in the working of the courts in your country. Write notes to him about these following terms: habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari, and quo warranto. When it comes to chapter 5, the short answer questions are as follows. Who administers the oath of office to the High Court judges? Who remove a judge of the High Court? What is meant by the original jurisdiction of the High Court? What is meant by revisionary jurisdiction of the High Court? Explain the terms civil cases and criminal cases. What are the functions of the Session Court? And mention the jurisdiction of each of the following: district judge and the session judge. And finally, the structured questions of the chapter 5. With reference to the jurisdiction of the High Courts, write short notes on the High Court as a court of record, its power to issue writs, its power of judicial review. Another important question is the state judiciary has a High Court as an apex body. In this context, answer the following. Describe the composition of the High Court. What is the territorial jurisdiction of the High Court? How was the independence of the judiciary been assured? So students, I hope this video helps you in your board exam. Give a like to this video, share it with your friends and share in the comments which is the most easy chapter you find of this subject. This is Professor Miithyl Dave signing off, wishing you all the best for your board exams. Bye-bye.